everyone, this is Julie Clifford. I'm a residential real estate consultant with Compass Realty here in McLean. And today is another exciting, and I promise you it's going to be exciting, adventure with Julie's Community Spotlight. And today we are talking to one of my favorite people, Miss Bo Lee, and she is with Gold Star Financial. So Bo, what's happening out there in mortgage land?
Oh, well, mortgage land is really beautiful this time of year. You should come and visit. And it's been exciting, as I'm sure you've been hearing in the news. There's lots of stuff about what's going on in the mortgage business, and I'd be happy to answer all of your questions.
Okay, well, I have lots of questions. So Gold Star Financial, tell us a little bit about the company.
So Gold Star, we're residential mortgage lenders. Gold Star's been in business for about 20 years. And what our specialty is putting buyers in homes in 12 days with no financing contingencies.
What?
So yeah, we...
12 days? That's unheard of.
Yeah, we're fast. We're fast and we like it that way. Nothing good happens after a real estate transaction hangs around for more than a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. So our business model is to underwrite everything up front and close it as fast as we can.
Wow, that's amazing. And so how do you accomplish that?
So when we get a referral, like if you as a realtor would send us someone that needs to be pre-approved for a mortgage, instead of just asking them a bunch of questions and doing some, running them through our system, we actually get all of their documentation. Mm-hmm. So we ask for their pay stubs, their bank statements, and then we actually send that loan through underwriting mm-hmm. before they've ever located a property. So anyone who's been in real estate or even has bought a home before has probably experienced that sometimes there are unexpected surprises mm-hmm. when you're going through the mortgage process, and rarely are they really fun surprises. So our model is to discover all the surprises up front mm-hmm. before you're under contract, before any earnest money is at risk, so that if there's anything that is going to come up that would prevent your loan from closing, we know it before you're under contract. And that gives you the confidence to actually go ahead and make an offer. Mm-hmm. And you know your loan is already approved, and it also allows us to do things like close your loan in 12 days once you're under contract, because wow. we've done all the heavy lifting up mm-hmm. front.
That's great, and that's really, I mean, as a real estate agent, it's important when we're starting to work with buyers that we make that clear. Even before we go out and look at homes, we have to make sure that you're qualified for the kind of home that you want to purchase. So if we're looking at homes and we haven't had you pre-qualified, we could be looking in a price range that's either too high or too low, and then you know what happens? You don't like me. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
And she's so likable.
Yeah, I'm likable. So that's really important. What advice would you give to prospective buyers right now?
My advice would be take some deep breaths, don't panic. I'm seeing that there are a lot of buyers that they sort of have the white knuckles, mm-hmm. where they're looking at interest rates, and I've had some people say, "Oh, I'm going to wait until rates come down." And what I would like to remind people is that real estate is still the biggest way to build wealth mm-hmm. in this country. And when you buy a home, you are immediately, regardless of what interest rates are doing, you're building equity. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen for you if you continue to rent for the next year or two, while you're waiting for rates to do something that makes you feel more comfortable. Mm-hmm. So I still do think that that real estate is an excellent investment. And as I said, I would say just take some deep breaths, mm-hmm. don't panic, and let the experts show you how you can buy a home and still stomach the monthly payment. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things that we're doing now to help people weather this, what we think will be a short-term period of unusually high interest rates. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of ways to to bridge the gap until hopefully, as the experts expect, rates come down in the next maybe year to it's up to, I've heard many different predictions. The next 6 months, the next 12 months, the next 18 months.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's a short-term thing, and so before deciding whether you can or can't do what you want to do, come and talk to us, and we can show you what's possible.
Gotcha. So can you speak to us a little bit about, and we've talked about this before, so everybody knows the Fed is raising their basis points, correct? So we're going to get another bump here. So how does that affect the mortgage market? Or does it?
That is a very good question, especially the timing is perfect because they just did that yesterday. The Fed raised the short-term rate by another 75 basis points.
And what does that mean for us lay people out there?
So what it means is the short-term rate is the federal funds rate. That's the bank that's the rate that banks pay when they lend each other money.
Okay.
So that is not the rate of a 30-year fixed.
Okay.
So the Fed did not just raise the mortgage rates by 0.75% yesterday.
Okay.
That's the short-term rate, and the Fed does not directly control mortgage rates. Now, what they do can have an impact on mortgage rates, but I've gotten a lot of phone calls in the past week about people, because they hear on the news saying, that, the Fed's going to announce whether rates are going to go up again, and I've gotten phone calls asking, should I haven't found a house yet, can I lock in now before the rates go up? And what I would like people to understand is it's not the Fed that is making mortgage rates go up. It's inflation that is making mortgage rates go up. And what the Fed is doing is trying to curb inflation. So it may be confusing, but what the Fed is doing, it should hopefully bring down mortgage rates in the short to midterm.
Okay. Well, that I think that clarifies a lot, because I mean, every time we hear the Fed's raising rates, people are telling me, well, now my mortgage rate is going to go up, but not necessarily. I mean, it probably will, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, it's not. The interest rate on the 30-year fixed did not go up by 0.75% yesterday. What the Fed does and what the Fed says can impact rates, but it's more of an indirect thing. So, and like I said, it's really inflation that causes rates to go up because, well, I could explain it, but I don't. We probably don't have that kind of time.
And it's kind of dry. But I do want to ask you a question. I know a lot of mortgage companies are offering some interesting ways for people to kind of buy down rates, and I know that would be a whole other interview, but can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Sure. That is something that we're seeing a lot of right now. We have a program we call the Gold Star Advantage that we offer an introductory rate of 2% lower than whatever the market rate is for your first year. And
okay, so if the rate right now is
let's say it's 7 1/8.
7 1/8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not say 7.7.
No, 7 1/8. And so what interest rate would you be offering then?
So in your first year, your interest rate would be 5 1/8.
Wow.
And then in your second year, it would be 6 1/8.
Okay.
And then in years 3 through 30, it would be the market rate, which was 7 1/8, for example, when we locked the rate. And the object of this game is to try to do something in the short term so that the monthly payment is not quite so painful as it is right now. Interest rates are not really particularly high right now. If you look at things historically, if you have some perspective to it, it's just that we've been so spoiled in the past couple of years that now, when rates are essentially, they're twice as high as they were last year. It's like the sky is falling, but really, I've been in the business for years, and when I got into the business, rates were about where they are right now. So, but the experts in the industry, people way smarter than me, the economists and the analysts, they are all predicting that rates will be lower next year. So the program, like the Gold Star Advantage, is a way to buy some time. So your first year, you could be saving hundreds of dollars a month.
Right.
A 2% difference in interest rate is huge on a say a $500,000 mortgage. That's several $100s a month. And then in year one, in year two, it's 1% lower, which is still a couple $100s a month. And the hidden beauty in this program is if those eggheads are right and rates do come down next year, this program is paid for with the buy down is paid for with seller subsidy. So this chunk of money goes into an escrow account to make up the difference in payment every month, and whatever's left in that escrow account, if rates come down, let's say rates come down in 6 months, whatever's left in that escrow account that hasn't been used is actually applied towards principal of that loan. So when you refinance to a lower rate, you don't lose that subsidy. You actually are using it to lower your principal balance. So it's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's great. And that's something I share with my buyers all the time. Yeah, that's important.
The thing to keep in mind about that program is that it's great for buyers, but it's also great for sellers, because now that real estate is sitting a little bit longer than 5 minutes like it was for the past 2.5 years or so, instead of lowering the price, offer the seller buy down instead, because the 2-year the 2% buy down, that could change your mortgage rate by your mortgage payment. As I said, several $100s a month. It could be $600-700 a month.
Oh my gosh.
In order to get that same reduction in mortgage payment, you would have to lower the price of that home by over $100,000.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just an adjustment in thinking. Instead of thinking, oh, the house is sitting a little bit, let's reduce our asking price. Before you reduce anything, offer the Gold Star Advantage and show prospective buyers what that does to the monthly payment, because it has far more impact than a small price reduction. You know, on a $500,000 loan amount, I think the seller subsidy is like I think it's like $11,000 or $12,000.
That's all? Wow.
So that's a lot better than dropping. You know, what would your first price cut be? $20,000, $25,000?
In order to make sense in our market, where you know our market really the average sales price is $500,000, which is really low, because I know in North Arlington, you know, average sales price is over $1 million. So, and every day I get emails from real estate agents that have price reductions on all their homes because they're just sitting there and they're not selling. So this is a perfect way, and I think it's really perfect. I mean, I think it's important that sellers also, you know that this is an option for them. So that's really, really cool. What's something most people don't know about your business?
I would say most people, when they need to be approved for a loan, I think a lot of people's first thought is, you know, it's going to hurt my credit score.
Right.
And I mean, it's an objection that I hear frequently, and it really doesn't. A mortgage inquiry has almost no impact on credit score.
Right, because it's different than applying for, you know, a car loan or
your
a Best
Macy's
Buy.
card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the credit bureaus expect that when you're about to get a mortgage, someone's going to have to pull your credit. So I would say that's one thing that people don't realize, that's really not a bad thing. Also, you can't get a loan without someone pulling your credit.
Right.
So And at Gold Star, we actually, if we run into those tough customers who are really, I can't talk them out of it, this fear. We actually have the ability to do a soft pull instead of a real inquiry, which will at least give us some insight into their credit situation and allow us to move forward without the borrower completely freaking out.
Gotcha. So if somebody came to you and they didn't have good credit, could you counsel them? And I don't expect you to tell me exactly what you would do, but can you counsel them on things that they could do to help increase their credit score so that they could get a better? So here's something that you probably don't realize. If you have bad credit, it affects almost every single thing that you do in your life, even as far as your Netflix account is going to cost more. Your water bill could cost more. It affects everything. Your auto insurance is higher if your credit score is bad. So, I think one of the best things you can ever do in life is to make sure your credit score is, not exactly flawless, but as good as you can get it. So you can help counsel people to do that.
Protecting your credit score is important. And yes, when I think another concern that people have, another thing that they don't realize about the business is that they think everything has to be perfect before they can apply for a loan. And oftentimes, the time to apply for the loan is right now, whether things are perfect or not, and then to let the professionals help make it as good as it can be.
Gotcha.
So, if you have let's say you have a 690 credit score, and really, the best interest rates are going to be if you have a 740 or better. Just because you have a 690 now doesn't mean that we can't help you improve that. And we have the tools that will help identify exactly what needs to be done in many cases to boost that score. Whereas if you're just flying blind and you're going in alone because you don't want to talk to anybody until you fix everything,
right,
you really don't know how to fix everything. Credit is not intuitive.
Yeah, and it's confusing if you've pulled your own credit report. It's really confusing,
It is, and it's not the same score that I get either. So I would say, just relax. Let us take a look at the credit. See if everything's perfect, then great. If it's not, then chances are we can improve it. And if it's not, there are a lot of tools that I have that allow us to give us a very quick boost to a credit score. That's ideal. If it's a really bad situation, we have professionals for that. That's their job to improve credit score.
Right.
And I can refer someone to our credit repair person right through our system. So it's really quite a seamless process. And then the credit repair person will update us and let us know when the score has gotten to the point where they can do what they want to do. So I would say don't be afraid,
right,
and jump in.
So I had a client a few years ago when I first started working with you. It was several years ago, and this person really he had dreadful credit, and I introduced him to Bo, and she helped him. And it took 2 years, but after 2 years, he called me up and he said, "I'm so excited because I can buy a house now." So, yeah. So sometimes you just have to hang in there.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a process. I had another one like that. They actually just closed this spring, where it took over a year to get their scores where they needed to be, and it was a lot of work, but it's extremely rewarding when you see someone who really wants to do something. They really want to buy a house, and they're willing to do everything that it takes to make it happen. And they stick with you, and we make it happen. It's very rewarding
for everyone. It makes you feel so good. Yeah. So tell us, we know a lot about your business now. So tell us a little bit. I always like to ask people, tell us about yourself. What do you once you close up your computer, what do you like to do?
Well, I have 2 children. They're grown-ups now. I have a daughter that lives here in Virginia, and I have a son who lives in Salt Lake City. And I never miss an opportunity to spend time with them when I get it. I like to be outside. I just actually took up paddleboarding this past year. I moved to a location where I have access to the water in my backyard, so I'm on the paddleboard a lot. I row on a crew team. I run for fitness.
And you run marathons too, don't you?
Not anymore.
I mean,
yeah.
not like big long ones, but you do a lot of charity races.
Yeah. I think my marathon days are behind me, but yeah, I still will run short races. And the charity fun runs are they're a lot of fun, and and for a good cause. It gives you a reason to go out and run every day, and raise money for whatever the cause is.
Gotcha. And the funniest thing is, Bo, you're from Connecticut, right?
I am.
So every year, this is hysterical, every year at Christmas time, all our family gets together and they all dress up like lobsters.
Yes.
It's the funniest thing you've ever seen.
It is. Lobster Day is, it's a long, long story that we don't have time for today, but we do the day after Christmas, we celebrate Lobster Day. And when I say that to people that I know, they're like, ooh, lobster, I love lobster.
But you don't actually eat lobster.
We don't eat lobster.
No, they just dress up like lobsters.
We dress like lobsters.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah, we like to do silly things. I should add that to my list of things about me, is that I like to have fun.
Yep.
And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to find a way to make it fun.
That's why I like her so much. Okay, so what words of wisdom, kind of in closing, would you offer to prospective clients right now?
I would say that this is still it's still a good time to buy a house. It's probably a better time to buy a house than it was just a few short months ago, because you actually have an opportunity to get under contract. And I mean, it's the same advice I'm giving my own children. So if I didn't think it was a good time to buy, I would not, I wouldn't be advising them to do it. But I would say, just as I said earlier, take some deep breaths and don't panic, and let the professionals that you trust guide you through the process. Because if you think buying a house is expensive, you should see what renting is like.
Oh, I know. It's terrible, especially where we are.
It is. I mean, the rent increases are crazy, and you're not building any equity that way. So
right.
I think that my words of wisdom would be that real estate is still the way to go.
Right. So if you would like to talk to Bo, if you want to put an application in, or if you just want to talk to her, or if you have bad credit or whatever, you can reach her by phone at 703-967-9722. And
it's 9792.
9792. 703-967-9792. And you can email her at BoLee, BOLEE, at goldstarfinancial.com. And her website is callbolee.com. And those are all the places that you can find her. Although the day after Christmas, you can find her in Connecticut at Lobster Day. And this has been another episode of Julie's Community Spotlight. And again, I'm Julie Clifford with Compass Realty. And if there's anything that I can help you with, if you're looking for a home, with Compass, we have private exclusives, which are really cool. They're listings that our agents put into a portal, which we can view. They're not available to be seen anywhere else but on a Compass website. So really good chances to find the perfect home, and we can also help you sell your home. And you can reach me at 703-980-0243. And my website is julieclifford.com. That's JULI Clifford.com. And we thank you for spending about 20 minutes with us today. I know it was a long one, but I think you got a lot of good information. And go out there and buy a house.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.